Thank you, Craig. 15 degrees at 7:32. Good morning, everyone. Another murder in the city of Calgary. That's 3 now in 5 days. This time the killing happened in the northwest community of Arbor Lake. A man in his 40s was gunned down right in the middle of the street here. The killer is still at large this morning. The shooting happened during the supper hour last night. As people were still coming home from work, witnesses say they heard about 10 shots. Right around 5:30 p.m., the victim found lying in the middle of Arbor Lake Drive, just past Arbor Vista Gate. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Neighbors say the victim lived in a house near where he was found. Police say the shooting is a targeted attack. Calgary police are warning anyone buying a vehicle online right now to be aware of scammers. Police laying charges against 4 people accused of rolling back odometers now in high-mileage vehicles, then reselling those high-mileage vehicles to unsuspecting buyers with the odometers changed. They searched Kijiji, by the way, the alleged culprits did, for vehicles with a lot of Ks on them, paying about $3,000 per vehicle. They would then clean the vehicles in and out, roll back the odometer 50 to 70%, and then resell them. For example, vehicles with a 160 to 300 K rolled back to 70 or 90,000 kilometers. As many as 15 people are believed to have been duped by this. In one case, a buyer purchased a vehicle for $5,800, but when they tried to register it, they had found it had been in a crash, written off by an insurance company, and would need about $4,000 worth of repairs to go on the road.
When you're buying off of Kijiji, don't fall for high-pressure tactics. This group used high-pressure tactics. The offender would bring his children to the sale of the car as well to bring heat off of him or make him look like a normal salesman, and it would be really hard at that time to determine whether or not it was legitimate. These vehicles will have more wear and tear in them. You need to really do a look through the interior and exterior of the vehicle. A mechanical inspection, while it only costs you probably a couple $100, would be something that's going to save you down the road.
Another good rule of thumb, the average Canadian person drives about 20,000 kilometers every year. So Staff Sergeant Verhule says would-be buyers should simply, the age of manufacture to how old the car is, multiply that by 20, and that's where the mileage should basically be sitting at. On the federal election campaign front, at least one big city mayor giving the thumbs up to Liberal leader Justin Trudeau's plan to spend $125 billion on infrastructure over the next 10 years, if elected. Vancouver Mayor Gregor Robertson calls that a significant and meaningful commitment to meet an urgent need. Justin Trudeau says his plan would be financed by what he calls modest deficits for 3 years, followed by a balanced budget in 2019. That plan being mocked, actually, by Conservative leader Stephen Harper, who says Trudeau's small deficits will become large deficits. The NDP's Tom Mulcair repeating his pledge to balance the books next year, saying 8 years of consecutive Conservative deficit budgets are too much.
There are a whole bunch of things that we're going to do differently from Stephen Harper. He subsidized oil companies to the tunes of billions of dollars while he's been in power. We won't do that. He's spent $1 billion fighting First Nations. We won't do that. He spent $1 billion on the Senate. I'm going to try to make sure that Canadians never spend another penny on the wasteful.
Meantime, Stephen Harper brushing off polls suggesting Canadians may be losing faith in his plan to stay the course regarding the national economy. He says the numbers are all over the map, and he predicts voters will reject the economic plans of the Liberals and the NDP.